The Raptors end this West Coast swing, this long road trip, on a winning note, as they've now won 5 consecutive games. They take on both LA teams. They lay a beat down on LeBron and the Lakers, and they take on the Clippers tonight. You knew it was going to be a lot more difficult of a test. And honestly, guys, it was a very difficult test even watching this game. The Raptors come away with the 103-100 victory over the Los Angeles Clippers tonight with the win. The Raptors, for the first time this year, are 9 games over 500 at 39-30, and they got some help on the out-of-town scoreboard. The Cleveland Cavaliers losing, the Brooklyn Nets losing. Raptor fans, we knew coming into this game, right as tip-off started, we saw what happened with Brooklyn, we saw what happened with Cleveland. We're all like, okay, we need this victory. And it made it that much more sweet as the Raptors were able to hang on for dear life there at the end and win this one. Like I said, 103-100. Let's break down this puppy, though. First quarter, very back-and-forth game. Not much doing there, but the Raptors do end up prevailing 28-26 after one quarter. Again, no teams are trying to feel the game out so far. We go into the second quarter, and the Raptors start digging in defensively, more or less about 5 minutes to go in the second quarter, where they absolutely play locked down. They go on like a 19-4 run, 19-6 run, something along those lines in that second quarter, and they end it strong, and they win it 26-18. A +8 quarter, you were up by 10. I believe it was 54-44 at the break. You're exactly where you want to be. You're up double digits on the road. You're feeling fantastic. You need to make that first punch in the third quarter. And what do the Raptors do? They make that first punch. They go on a nice little run to start. They end up getting a 17-point lead at one point. We're like, man, could this team run it up like they did against the Los Angeles Lakers? The defense was still locked in. They were making lots of shots. Pascal Siakam was going on fire in that third quarter. And more or less all game long, he was on fire. But, I saw it in the third quarter, more or less. And however, though, as that third quarter went along, as they started getting into their offense more, the Raptors' offense started to cool off. They didn't, and they were making shots. And the Raptors were giving them offensive boards, and it was kind of sloppy there in that third quarter. Raptors give up a 30-piece. They only dropped 24, and you were only up by 4 at the end of 3 quarters of play. So, hey, it's a whole new basketball game now. That 17-point lead you had at one point in the third is gone. It is now a 4-point game heading into the fourth in LA against the Clippers. You got to find a way to close this game out. This is what separates the good teams from the great teams on the road, closing out a game against a team who is hot, who is on a roll heading into the fourth. And in that fourth quarter, the Raptors, again, it seemed like in this game, especially in the second half, every time the Clippers made a run, the Raptors countered, right? They got it down to 2 at one point in the early goings of the fourth quarter. And the Raptors ended up getting it back up to 10. And we're like, man, they could run this back up again, ice this game, clean and dandy, nice finish. Well, that obviously didn't happen because the Clippers end up making a run at it and end up getting it to a 1-point game at one point. But then the Raptors counter that and bring the lead back up again. Now, let's fast forward now to the final minutes. And Scotty Barnes gets the inbound, and he just starts driving with a guy on his hip, but he's driving. And people are thinking doubling Pascal, doubling Fred VanVleet. Well, Scotty's driving the lane, like I said, with a guy on his hip, and he is going he's just steamrolling down the lane. No one takes him, and he lays it up and through. Just a masterful play from Scotty, not thinking too much, not thinking, okay, where's the help going to come from? I got to pass it off. No, there's no help there. Take it up yourself, young fella, and he did a great job there. Also, things I wanted to talk about, you're up by, what was it? You're up by 1, right? And the Raptors are at the free throw line. Fred VanVleet is taking a couple crucial free throws to make it a 3-point game. And hey, at the very worst, you can get, or at the very, worst, you can get the tie, right? Worst case scenario. And he gets one and misses the second, but gets his own rebound. Dribbles around, they end up fouling him with 9 seconds left, something like that. They had 6.2, or maybe that was after the last one. I can't remember when it was. Either way, goes back to the line, you're up 2. You get these next 2, it's game. You get it up by 4, just don't foul anybody and you're good to go. He makes the first, makes it a 3-point game. All right, beautiful. Misses the second one, and you can't get the offensive board there. They have the ball. They call a timeout with 6.2. And we're sitting here like, man, you had 2 chances to ice this game. Well, let's come back to haunt the Toronto Raptors. They move, obviously, with the timeout being called. The ball gets moved up, so it's obviously in the Raptors' half of the court. They inbound it to Morris, who had the hot hand in the game. He was great. Gets it up top, and Precious Achiuwa. I mean, this guy was Gorilla Glue, super glue, whatever kind of glue you want to talk about. He was right tight with Morris and didn't let him move. He tried to shake Precious off, didn't happen. Tries to take the shot at the buzzer, with like half a second left, and Precious gets a piece of it. Like, that is such a crucial play. Precious gets it. Fred ends up batting it away from the guy underneath the bucket, even though it didn't really matter. You're already up by 3. But that's game. Like, this game was not pretty from the Toronto Raptors. This was not one of their picturesque, beautiful contests. But it was a grinded-out game on the road to end the road trip. And you get some crucial stops late, especially from Precious. After a few different opportunities to ice it, you don't get it. And that usually leads to a disaster. But Precious denies the shot, and you win the game 103-100. An incredible finish at the Staples Center. I know it's not called that, but I still won't call it the other thing. I'm not going to. All right? Let's get to the player stats. Chris Birch. Where am I going to get that from? Khem Birch got the start at the 5 tonight instead of Precious. He had 9 points, 7 boards, a dime, 2 of 2 from the free throw line, 5 of 6 from no, that can't be right. It can't be 5 of 6 from 3-point range. I think it was 5 of 6 from the line. That's what I was going for. 2 of 2 from the field. That's where I was going to say those numbers seemed real off for Khem, but he was a plus 13 when he was on the floor. Look, he went out there. He rebounded the ball. I believe in 21 minutes. He had 7 boards in the game. He had 9 points. He had 5 free throws. Both field goals he took, he knocked them down. He's a plus player on the floor. You love what you saw from Khem Birch tonight. You want to see that more consistently from him, but a good game overall tonight in the starting lineup. Easily, though, the MVP from tonight's game. Pascal Siakam. Oh, my. The man just took over. Get that guy mano-a-mano. He will take you into the paint and school you. That's what he was doing possession after possession, it felt like in this one. 31 points, 12 boards, 3 dimes in the game, shot 13 of 22, so extremely efficient, 2 of 2 from the line, was 3 of 5 from 3-point range. You know Pascal's feeling it when he's got that over 50% from the field, and oh, by the way, he sprinkles in 3 3-pointers as well. He had a big-time night tonight, did Pascal Siakam. He was a plus 10 while he was on the floor as well. And Gary Trent Jr., we thought that 42-point outburst a few nights ago, a few games ago, let's put it that way. We thought that was the coming out party again for Gary, right? We thought, okay, he's got his stroke back. He's going to be all great and dandy. Well, he's kind of struggled the last couple of games of the shot again. 7 points, 4 boards, couple dimes in the game. 1 of 9 from the field. It was 4 of 4 from the line. So he's still making his money shots from the free throw line, which I'll take any day of the week from Gary. But 3 of 9, or not, that's Fred. 1 of 5 from distance. So again, really struggled shooting the ball. Did give you 2 steals in the game and didn't hurt your team on the defensive end, which is always crucial. We talked about before how Gary, when the shot's not falling, he sometimes lingers and the defense kind of is a little sluggish. Not tonight. Gary did a great job. His on-ball D was fantastic. Fred VanVleet, we talked about in the last game how he didn't look right. He didn't quite look healthy. Him and Gary were actually game-time decisions in this game. They were questionable for tonight's game. Both ended up playing, but Fred VanVleet, man, oh man, you needed him tonight, and he was spectacular. We talked about in the last video how he didn't look right. Shots were short. He looked a little off. Not tonight. 21 points, 2 boards, 3 dimes for Fred, 7 of 17 from the field, 4 of 6 from the line, 3 of 9 from 3. He was money. He was money. Other than the few missed free throws late in the game, I thought he was phenomenal. And his on-ball D, you know what you're going to get from Fred. That dog mentality. But from the 3-point line, he did a great job. Scotty Barnes, what can we say? I think he had like 8 points going into the fourth quarter, ended up with 15. Money. He got the ball, obviously, to start the fourth quarter because he's that guy who kind of running that offense in that early goings of the fourth quarter because he's the primary ball handler. No Fred, no Pascal out there, no Gary. So, hey, Scotty, run that point and get things going. And he did. 15 points, 4 boards, a dime, 7 of 16 from the field, was 1 of 2 from 3-point range. Didn't actually get to the free throw line, which was kind of shocking. But Scotty Barnes, not his best game. But again, there were flashes, there were moments where Scotty, they did an incredible job. That early fourth quarter three-pointer to kind of get the Raptors going a little bit. The first three, I think they started 1 of 6, I believe, from the field, and we started 1 of 5. That one was Scotty Barnes from 3. And obviously that big coast-to-coast layup late was huge as well. So Scotty Barnes is doing things, man. Just doing a lot of things to help this team win. And Precious Achiuwa, I mean, this guy continues to impress everybody night after night. You know, if it's not on the offensive end, it's the defense. You honestly, we can sit here and say you know what you're going to get from Precious every night defensively. And it's hard-nosed, it's rim protection. He's just going to give it to you. And when he sprinkles in 11 points, 6 boards, couple dimes on 5 of 7 shooting, and 1 of 3 from 3, man, I'll take that any day of the week. And then he gives you that denial late in the game. The fact that he sprinkles in what he did offensively tonight, plus that, what a job for Precious tonight. And he is slowly developing into a very reliable bench piece. Very reliable sixth man even. Because he's been the guy off the bench for the Toronto Raptors. And obviously in crunch time, late in games, he's been out there. And well-deserved. He's been phenomenal. Now, let's get to the team stats real quick. The Raptors shot 46% from the field, 34% from 3, and 76% from the line. So, again, not the greatest night shooting-wise for the Toronto Raptors. They shoot 49% from the field, 37% from 3, and 87% from the line. Now, obviously, the Raptors got to the free throw line more, so the makes were obviously a little bit better. But, again, not much separation. Obviously, only won by 3, so it was a tight game right from the get-go. But the Raptors did a job. They did exactly what they needed to. They were +3 on the offensive glass, except for late in the game. The last few possessions, the last few minutes of this one, the Raptors, they were having a tough time on the getting defensive rebounds. There was one moment in the fourth quarter where they had 3 or 4 chances and missed all of them. And then obviously late in the game, I think in the final minute, they had like 2 or 3 chances on one play. And I'm like, man, they got to close these possessions out. And they were really struggling there. They end the game +3. So it tells you how lopsided it was to start, considering they still won by 3, even though they had all those offensive rebounds in the fourth quarter, did the Clippers. But off of those +3 offensive boards, Raptors were +12 in second chance points. So yeah, the discrepancy of offensive boards weren't there, but the makes off of those second chances were the Raptors just making them pay. +12 on that, and great job there. +3 in the turnovers category. So they had 14. We only had 11 turnovers in the game. Again, 11's a little bit much for this team. We've seen a lot of games where this Raptor team turns it over 7 times, 8 times. 11 is not what we're used to. However, they were still +7 in points off of turnovers, and you could arguably say that's a huge reason of why the Raptors won tonight, and I would not disagree with you. And the biggest lead of the night for the Raptors, obviously 17, as we talked about. And, as much as I said earlier how they didn't play their greatest game. Look, the biggest lead that the Clippers had all night long was 3. So, yeah, the Raptors bent so many times, but they never broke. And that's a sign of a good team. All right? So, Raptor fans, the next game for the Raptors is at home. Finally. Now, we always hear, though, after a long road trip, because this has been a long roadie for the Toronto Raptors, that the first game back might be a little tough. And look, the way the other team is playing, I don't think that should matter, because you take on the Los Angeles Lakers at Scotiabank Arena on Friday night. It's a 7:30 tip-off there. The way LeBron is acted tonight against the Minnesota Timberwolves, obviously, we saw it firsthand a few nights ago how that team is an abomination. We take that same team on in a couple days. And with Brooklyn and with Cleveland losing, it gives Raptors a 4-game lead over Brooklyn and now are tied with Cleveland. However, they have the tie break, so technically we are still not ahead of them. But Raptor fans, we're right there. All these guys need to do is just keep on winning 1 game at a time, all right? So you know what, guys? That is going to do it for this one. You enjoyed the video and enjoyed the game this evening, because if you didn't, you're just not a basketball fan or you're not a Raptor fan. That's just all there is to it. Hit the subscribe button if you guys not already. Comment down below thoughts on the video, thoughts on the game, what you like, what you not like from today's game. If you're the Toronto Raptors, the Twitter link is down below, so follow up, send me a DM to that great stuff. The Instagram link is also down below, so follow up there if you guys have not done so already. And I will talk to you guys at Jake's Edition if they do something else. My gosh, the way today has been, it's been wild with the Matt Chapman stuff and Freddie Freeman going to the Dodgers, and we're watching the Yankees and Red Sox kind of sitting on their own thumbs, not doing anything, and I love every second of it. But I will talk to you at Spring Training Edition tomorrow, because spring training gets going on Friday, and we're all jacked up for that stuff. So I can't wait to talk to you guys then. For the Toronto Maple Leafs, they play tomorrow against the Carolina Hurricanes at home. Hopefully Shelgren's in net, because if they go Mrazek, I'll lose my marbles. We'll have to see how that plays out, though. And for the Toronto Raptors, We'll talk to you guys on Friday as Raps host LeBron and the Lakers. Unless he just calls in sick and doesn't end up playing against the Raptors. We'll have to see. No matter what, though, 7:30 tip-off, Raps, Lakers, back in my normal location. I know this has been a really lucky spot, but there's literally nothing I can do. These hotels are not cheap. All right, so thank you guys so much for listening and watching. I hope you enjoyed the video and the game tonight. We'll talk to you guys then.